Welcome. I'm your host, Mike Pugh of the Virtual Intel channel, and I am thrilled to present to y'all folks a great feat that I was able to accomplish. What I did, I took a Sketchfab statue. So this is a statue that was created on Sketchfab by Gus Bronze. So this user, Gus Bronze, Guss Bronze. I'm going to make sure you get the link to this person's location. And this statue, by the way, is free to use as long as you credit them. And I'll just go and double check, look at the actual details on the licensing. But pretty much it is something that you can utilize. Let's see, more information, CC, let's check out. So it's a non-commercial, but I'm doing this for educational purposes only, so I'll be able to use it on YouTube for my purpose. But it's attribution, non-commercial, share alike. So you're trying to use it for commercial purposes, and it's not more of a fair use. When it comes to fair use manner, then you probably 9 times out of 10 cannot use it. Just wanted to let y'all folks know that kind of stuff. If you're doing that with YouTube, make sure it's a transformative purpose as in terms of educational value. All right, so this is what I transformed him into, and this is the part of the thumbnail image that I used. So let me show you real quick side by side. These are the two images side by side. So you can do this as well. It's pretty interesting what I was able to do. I used this technique that I call, hold on one second, I call it the FaceOff technique. So I recently created that technique out on Blender, using Blender, and this is the statue here of this king. I believe this is a king, not sure, from many years ago, a statue of some sort of king, and this is the recreation of him in MetaHuman. And it's pretty interesting how close to the resemblance of that actual statue this really is, and how I can tell is by the nose bridge. So this whole portion right here of the face is what's very similar, the nose bridge of the face. The reason why it became very accurate is I used what is known as Avatar SDK. So if you want to get like a image of a person onto MetaHuman, so you wanted to create a MetaHuman just by a single image, you can use Avatar SDK. So you can go to avatarsdk.com and you can submit that image and try your best to figure out how to make it into a MetaHuman. How you do that is when you submit an image, it turns it into a 3D model and it tries to make it as close as it could to the likeness of the actual image. Now you have two different head models. So you have head model version 1.2 and head model version 2.0. So let me go back real quick to the beginning portion of Avatar SDK. So when you get in, you're going to basically use the web demo of the Avatar SDK website, and then you're going to go through this pipeline options, and you have head 2.0 and head 1.2. You have male and you have female for meta person. The meta person isn't going to work for what your purpose is to create a MetaHuman, because those aren't downloadable. So I believe in order for you to get access to that, you more than likely are going to have to become a paid subscriber or pay for an account that is more of a premium account. I believe that's how that works. Don't quote me on it because I haven't used it for that purpose yet, but I'm using the free version, and you can create 3 models for free using the web version, as long as, or the web demo version, as long as you have an account. So you have to sign up for free. So you click free, sign up, you go in, create a username and password or whatever, and then that should get you in, and then you go back to the Avatar SDK website and you select demo. So that's that part, but I'll bring you back to the full website, the side of the website where you're not logged in, I believe. So let's see if I can get there. So here it is. So this is the side of the website where you're not logged in. So it's avatarsdk.com. And like I said, you would have to create a sign up if you want to use the web demo for download purposes. So you click try web GL demo, this orange button, to get where I was at. Then once you're ready, you can use any of these images just to play around so you can learn how to use it. But it's really fairly simple. Like, you can just click on this image, any of the images up here, sample images, and click generate. So it's going to go in and try to generate her 3D model. So I'm just giving y'all folks a sample type of more like a preview of what you would have to do on the actual website in order to get your 3D model. Once you get your 3D model, then you can take it and bring it to Blender. That's what I recommend, because if you try to bring it directly to Unreal Engine 5, which is what you're going to be eventually using to finalize your character, get your character up and running to create it as a MetaHuman, it will take you a lot of effort and probably fail if you bypass using Blender. So keep that in mind. So we're gonna go hit the little back orange button to get out of that, because this is the meta person and this is not the version that we can use. As you can see, there's no option to download anywhere. If you look around on the screen, you'll notice there's no way to download anything. You can change things, but you can't download that one. So we're gonna go back out, and then we're gonna select, let's select head 1.2 first, so you can see the difference between head 1.2 and head 2.0. Basically, it's a quality difference. And also, head 2.0, you can actually remove the hair. So you're going to need both versions if you're trying to do what I was able to do with my 3D model that I created of the statue from Sketchfab. So this whole video is all going to be about the technique that I use to remove the face portion of one model and then digitally stitching it onto another. So basically what I did is I went on to Blender, I removed a portion of the version 1.2 head, extracted part of the face, which would be the eye area, the nose area mainly, and then I went in and stitched it on top of the previous, or the other model, head 2.0. So this is pretty much closely resembling her. As you can see, it took her face imagery and then mapped it on top of a 3D model pretty much. And the 3D model is somewhat shaped and contoured based on the image that's in there. So I don't know how they do it. They have some digital magic, maybe an AI type of system that goes in and then scans the image and throws as much data at the screen that's possible to mirror what it sees and senses. I'm not sure how they do it, but whatever the case is, Avatar SDK is pretty powerful. You don't even have to scan the whole entire person, like take hundreds of photos or 20 photos or more or whatever, like a lot of these other 3D scan tools do. The difference with those 3D scan tools and this is that the 3D model you're going to get from a scan photo is probably much more accurate, but it's okay because we're just playing around and having fun. And that's the whole idea, is to come up with creative things, be a creator, create. Basically, you don't have to be accurate when it comes to creativity. You can be as, wild and zany as you want, or as accurate as you want. You can come up with things that nobody else came up with. It's up to you. That's your creativity. Using your imagination, activating imagination, and going as far as you can. That's what I recommend for those who choose to be creative. I know I'm trying my best to activate my imagination, so that's why I chose to take more of the route of using a statue and then coming up with a technique that I think is something that other people can use. Now here goes the head model 2.0. So I decided to put that one in there, but you can see clearly that it doesn't look like her as much as the head 1.2. So those two different versions, it's up to you which one you want to use. If you want to use only one or whatever, you can do that. You don't have to use my FaceOff technique that I chose to come up with on Blender. But if you want to use accuracy and you want to come up with a really accurate model, I highly recommend to use both versions. So what you're going to do is when you get version 2.0, which is this one, you're going to go in the upper right area and left click the arrow here to get rid of the hair. That's why I choose to use this version, because when you move it over to Unreal Engine 5, you want no hair. You don't want to have any hair, a head shape or anything dealing with hair, because if you have hair, all kinds of hair stuff going on, it's going to really throw off the shape and contour of the model. So when you're trying to create your MetaHuman, the head is gonna accept every single part of the shape of the model. So that means that it's gonna be disfigured to some degree. So you don't want to have a disfigured model, obviously, so you want to take off the hair. That's why I want to use head 2.0 on Avatar SDK. You can also do this for any of your scan models. So say you scanned your whole head and you didn't want to, put like some kind of a net over your hair to try to limit the amount of hair that you have on your head, or you didn't want to cut your head bald, cut your hair bald. Obviously, most people will not want to do that if they don't naturally, like to have a bald head, and they wouldn't want to do that just for, creating a model for themselves, a 3D model of themselves. So what you can do is take an image of yourself, bring it on Avatar SDK, and take the head 2.0 and bring it over to Blender with your scanned model onto Blender, and follow the same procedure that I'm doing here, and that will work. It would actually work by you taking the face off from one model, maybe that 3D model that you scanned, take the whole frontal portion of the face. So you can take this whole front portion, maybe the full frontal portion, and then just join it to the head model that you got from SDK of yourself. So that could work. That's why I wanted to create this technique, because I know that people are going to need it. So this is the model on Blender, and this is exactly what I did with the statue. So I put the statue's image in there. I've been playing around with tons of models. Here goes another Sketchfab model right there. I'm telling you, I've been doing this face-off thing day in and day out, digitally stitching things together, trying to figure out the best way to make this thing work, make a technique that could provide much more accuracy for MetaHuman creations. So I've been playing around with all these different models, like going hard. That's what it's all about, with your creativity. If you don't go hard, then you're really not going to go anywhere. You're not going to get that far. So you got to go hard. That's what I recommend. So here goes another one, digitally stitched. I created a live stream about it. The problem with this one is that the eyes had issues, but I came up with a solution like actually today for if the eyes have any digital stitching issues. Say you join the models together and then you got holes in the eye areas. I figured out a solution to that. So yeah, Blender is pretty powerful. Here goes another iteration. This one was a lot better that I did than the first one. So this one was first here I did, and then this one was second, and I was playing around. Some of the ear portions and the head portions, I just didn't delete some of it. You got to delete some of the mesh so that you can get rid of all the excess. You don't want any kind of excess vertices flying around on the screen, and so that it can distort what you're trying to do over on Unreal Engine 5 once you get your model to Unreal Engine 5. So luckily this was a huge success. Let me try to move it over. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to navigate. It's kind of hard because I'm doing this live. I'm doing a pre-recorded video, I would be able to edit out all the different errors of what I'm doing. So this model here was kind of tough, but it helped me to realize what I could do in terms of stitching. Stitching, I'm calling it stitching, but it's not really stitching, it's just editing. So you go into edit mode, you select the model, go up here in the upper left corner on Blender where it says object mode, and then select edit mode. When you select edit mode, say you join two models together, you're gonna have a whole lot of meshes combined. So you can go in and digitally sew these things together or stitch them together simply by going to let's see, you go to this tool over here, your toolbar, where you have, by default, it's going to be in the tweak section. You have select box, you have select circle or circle select, and then you also have this thing called lasso. I highly recommend for you to go to select lasso, because what it does is allows you to create a lasso select of any vertice groups that you want, any small little area patches, tiny sections, whatever the case may be. So you can do that like that as long as you zoomed in on it. If you have problems with zooming in, you want to maybe select one single vertice or face with the left click mouse button, and then you go to view, and then from view you go to frame selected, and that brings you closer to that segment. Because sometimes when you're trying to zoom in with the mouse scroll wheel on Blender, it stops at a certain point. So say, let me zoom out and create a big 3D object or something, maybe a big monkey head, right? So say we're on the monkey head, we're gonna zoom on him. So we'll go view, frame selected, and now that's the normal zoom. So now we'll go and try to get closer to something else. Say this lady's face. It might not go all the way down. Like sometimes it stops at a certain point. See, this is like the limit here. So that's the limit based on the scale of the monkey head. So let's see exactly where it limits itself. The reason why I'm saying that is because some people may not know how to zoom in on certain vertices. See, like now I'm stuck. I can't keep zooming. So if I was trying to zoom on this person's vertices, I wouldn't be able to do it. Vertices are basically the 3D models elements that allow it to actually be built. So the vertices are more like the building blocks of a 3D model. So they're very tiny. They're like little tiny pixels. So say I'll go into this one. This is not like a tutorial on Blender, but I'm just giving y'all folks little, points and tips if you don't know and you're just starting on Blender or whatever. So we're gonna go to edit mode. As soon as you go to edit mode, you'll see and you'll notice everything highlights if it's selected. Right now we're using face select, and your selections of vertices, line segments, or they call it edges. So vertice points or vertex points, edges or edge select, or face select. You can choose these options here right next to edit mode. So when you go to select vertex select, it's going to turn all the vertices on. So you'll see they highlighted as little tiny dots. Now you can't zoom in too much, like I said, if you don't do frame selected. So if you select one individual vertex point, then you go view, frame selected is going to zoom in on that vertex point. See, so now we can scroll in and even look inside the head. And I'm using the mouse scroll wheel. So this is something very important to know with the technique of what I'm about to show y'all folks. With the FaceOff stuff, you have to know that stuff, because once you start removing parts of the face, you want to do some repairs. Like maybe I want to repair that segment right there. I'm gonna hit the F key on the keyboard and try to fix some of my errors that I've created. Might not work exactly the way you want it, but at certain points you can make it work. See, right now I'm just basically trying to seal some holes in the face or in the eyes. Doesn't look like I did, but it does make some differences. Now, if you have a really good mesh and it has small tiny holes in certain areas, you can go in and correct it really easy. So like, let's see this right here. Maybe I can correct this here. Hit the F key and boom, it just now corrected that hole. So it filled the hole to the best of its ability. Let me see if I can circle this here. Hold on 1 second. Actually, I don't want to get any vertices that don't need to be touched. Hit the F key. Let's try face select. And then select those. Hit the F key. Boom. So see that it filled that hole. So you can fill holes depending on what type of selection you have. Hit face select and it filled the holes. So now when those holes are filled, when you move it over to, let's say, Unreal Engine 5, you won't have any issues with it detecting that area as a problem. See that? So I just filled all the holes that's in here by using face select instead of vertices select. So let me try that again. Go over the whole eye, hit F, and I think that fills some of it. If not, we would have to move it at a certain angle because it's trying to select everything. The problem is that it's clashing with other portions of the 3D model. So there's other portions over there. So see, there's back portions that might be in a way. Let's see. Delete that. Delete that. Not delete, but what I'm doing is deselecting it. And now let's see if we can hit the F. It fills it. It filled some of it. But you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm just showing y'all folks something that I kind of developed playing around, messing around on Blender. All right, so we're gonna go to object mode. We're gonna delete this, and seems like I got rid of. For some reason I got rid of that dude. Hold on 1 second. Let's move him up. Yeah, I got rid of the other model somehow. I'm not worried about that other model. We'll bring them in. All right, so say we wanted to recreate that guy. Let's do that. So we'll go to Avatar SDK. Starting with a tool like this from Avatar SDK, what you would do is zoom in on the face, and you don't have to download the model itself. All you got to do is take a screenshot. So we're going to do print screen, use the print screen button on my keyboard, and we'll go here and just overlay on top of it. So we'll hold on 1 second. I have transparency selected. So let me get rid of the transparency. And then all I'm going to do is just try to position the screen so that I got that screenshot visible in whole. So I got the whole image visible. I don't want everything. I just want the head portion basically. And try to limit the amount of excess that you have on the screen. Just focus on the head portion. Then we're going to go to File and Save As. I'm going to call it Stat. Or I call it Stat. I'm going to call it Stat 1. And bring it in, let me see, to where I have my avatar folder. So you want to create like an avatar folder, or model type of folder, 3D model folder, or whatever kind of name convention that you want, so you can find it on your computer. So we're going to call it Stat 1. We'll put it in, we're going to create a folder for him. So we're going to right click on any area inside that folder and then create a new folder. We're going to call it Stat. Then double click that, save, and now it's saved inside this folder that I created called Stat, that's sitting in my avatars folder. So it's just an image. It's I guess a JPEG or a PNG photo image type of thing, image photo. And so from there, we're going to go to Avatar SDK. So the idea is we take that image, use Avatar SDK to turn them into a 3D model. Once we get that, we're going to bring them into Blender and sit them next to these heads. You don't have to have all these heads in your stuff. I just have this because this is my playground, so to speak, where I build my models in and I play with the heads and manipulate them. So I'm playing with the heads, whatever. Let's go out. We're going to go to Avatar SDK, and I already got him in there, as you can see, but I'll do it again. Go to Browse Photo, find the image. Where is it at? In that stat folder. I'm going to a different folder for him just to show y'all folks from scratch. So we're going to go Open. There we go. That's him. This time he has a crown on his head. I wanted to get rid of the crown in the other image, but I want to see what it's going to do. It might not rebuild the crown, but it's possible because what it tries to do here is map off of everything. So it's going to try to like use part of the crown to make his hair. So we'll see what it does. We'll go 1.2 first. Work on the head 1.2, and then we'll try to work on the rest of it. So if the crown gives any issues, excuse me, you go right back over to Microsoft Paint or whatever editing program that you use, and you can go in and fix it. But you know what? This looks better than what I had originally. This looks very, very accurate with the crown put in there. And it's pretty amazing that the accuracy has improved now that I added that portion of the head. But yeah, it's all good. We're going to use this to the best of our ability. And what we want to do is just take the face bridge or face area with the nose bridge. We don't really care too much about the lips and all of that, because when I tried to merge the lips, the mustache was in the way and it got into having issues. So I'm just probably going to extract the upper portion where the nose and the lips separate, right around here, and go all the way over and take the eyes area. So that's that. Now we're going to download it to that stat folder. So we're going to go back to avatars, look for stat, and then call this stat. I'm going to stick to the same naming convention on most of this stuff. And eventually when I get to Unreal Engine, I'm going to start changing up, because sometimes naming conventions in Unreal Engine for this type of thing will start to clash. So we're going to click Save, hit the back arrow or back button, and then we're going to go to Head 2.0 with the same image and generate. And like I said, you'll see the differences. A huge difference in a way. I think it's a major difference, because it's two different types of visual qualities on the models. So head 1.2, the quality is way higher than head 2.0. I'm not sure why the developers did that, and they have two different versions like that, but that's a great thing, because if one is a very low quality, you want to blend them together. So this doesn't look too bad. Actually, it looks better than it did. Everything looks even more accurate with the crown somehow. But as you can see, I have it as a bald head. Let's go to the differing type of hairstyles that you can put in it. But this is not what you want to do, obviously. But if you wanted to use Avatar SDK just for modeling purposes itself, that's fine as well. And you can come up with your own stylized hair for the king head and all that stuff, and you can just use it as its own model and just have fun. Look at the king with dreads, the king statue or whatever. So it's pretty interesting what you can do on Avatar SDK, separate from the purpose I'm using it for. So yeah, let me just go back to that bald head. So it has several purposes. It's multi-purpose. I like to use it for this purpose though, for sure. Because look, what it does is it's going to build the face and the structure of the head, which is pretty unique because you can't really see all the dimensions off of a 2D image, but it's approximating everything based on the size, I believe, from the top of the head to the chin. So it's approximating and then building out based on the imagery as well. That's what it looks like. So we're going to go download the bald head, and we're going to call this head. Doesn't matter. Now, keep in mind, you're going to get zip folders for all your downloads through the Avatar SDK, so you're going to have to unzip them. Alright, so if y'all folks have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll try to go and drop into the comments if there's any comments. There's a chat area here through OBS Studio, so if you have any questions, just feel free to ask, and I'll try to jump in and out. Like I said, this is a live session, so I'm just showing y'all folks what I figured out how to do and puzzle together over time. A lot of this stuff is the buildup of like 3 or 4 years of me learning on Blender, different things. I'm not a 3D modeler, I'm not a 3D model expert, I'm not a 3D anything expert. I'm more of an amateur, so bear with me on some of the stuff. If I'm not that great with it, it is what it is. But let's go. We're gonna go to File, go to Import, and I'm pretty experienced on Blender in terms of file stuff, transfers, figuring out how to export, import, how to use add-ons and all kinds of stuff. So I'm good at that, but I'm good at files in general on my PC. So anything dealing with PC stuff, I was a tech before I got into any of this stuff. So my tech skills come in, and that's why I can move through a lot of the stuff that the average person may not know how to do. So we're gonna move in on a wavefront object, but we're not gonna do it yet. We have to, like I said, extract those files. So we're gonna go to a location where we know the files is at. So I'll go into this one and back out, and then go to the location. So you're gonna have to go through a lot of that on your computer because maybe you don't have things situated the way you want it. So you're gonna have to figure out where you put your stuff at. So let's extract all on both folders. And then I highly recommend for you to delete the zip folder when you're done, because then your computer is gonna overload over time, adding too many zip folders to your computer. So if you want to avoid from having overload, just delete your zip folders after you unzip them. So that limits the amount of excess data that's loaded up on your computer. Just a little tip. So now we got stat and stat head, or stat and head, I should say. So now we can go to File, Import, and we're gonna do object file, because it's gonna be object files that have been downloaded from what do they call it? Sketchfab. So we're gonna go Import, and if it doesn't show up right away, that means that it's going to be positioned somewhere else on the screen. So you have to zoom out. And then what I'll do is just Shift S, object to cursor, or selection to cursor. And then what it does is it puts it over it for some reason. I don't know why the origin point isn't around where the cursor is, but it has a weird origin point. So this is, I believe, the head 2.0. What you want to do with this is you want to go to Object, in the Object area where it says Object Mode, select Object, and then go to Shade Smooth. Because you want the resolution, you want it to be high poly, you don't want it to be low poly. So what that means is the polygons that it's displaying, being used to display the 3D model, you want them to drop in resolution, increase in resolution. So to do that, you go to Shade Smooth, and what it does is it changes the amount of vertices. So it increases the vertices. So your computer might slow down a little bit, but it's worth it because you want to have a smoother looking model. If it's not shaded through Shade Smooth, it's going to be very rough. You're going to see a lot of weird looking artifacts. So you want to do that with both models. So the next one, we're going to import again, but the next model will be the other one. Let's go out. What is going on? Stat. So we should be in stat, and then okay, so we're going to the stat one. Import, see where it's at. Now this one is positioned somehow correctly, so that both models are having different origin points, so it's all good. So we're going to do Shift S on the keyboard. So shift plus the S key on the keyboard pops out a menu that gives you the ability to play with the cursor. So it's like a snapping feature. I believe you also can go to object and then go to snap. So we're going to go selection the cursor, or hit the 8 key on the keyboard. What it does is it sends it where the cursor was positioned. So I positioned the cursor over here. This is in the previous session that I did. So it's already defaulted there. But if you wanted to, you can take the cursor, select the cursor here in the left toolbar, and then left click anywhere you want to place the cursor. So the reason why I did that is because I want to position both heads around the same proximity location, so that I can get an accurate merge when I'm trying to merge the vertices. So you want to left click over here where, like I said, the whole lasso select thing, but go back to tweak for now, because what you're doing, you're just moving stuff, you're not using the lasso yet. So what we're going to do is try to get an approximate match on the move of both models. So we want to try to match them into the same location as best we can to see where we can merge them. So you might want to rotate a little bit from one side to the other side and just try to figure out where they fit together. So obviously both models have a different shape. The chins are shaped a little different. The nose is shaped a little different. So the model with the crown on it is the one you want to cut out. And the model with the bald head is the one that we're going to apply the face off on top of. So we're going to remove this face, part of this face, and put it on top of this one. So the one is with the crown, we're going to remove part of its face and place it on top of the bald head face. So what I notice is, if you look close, one face is standing upright and the other one is tilted. Or one head is standing upright, which is the one with the crown is standing upright, and the one over here is somewhat tilted backwards. So I can tell by the nose. If you look at the nose and the angle of the nose, they have different angles. So what you want to do is go to the bald head and maybe rotate it on the x-axis a little bit to try to correct that angle, and then move it in and get it close to the angle of the other one. So see the angle of the nose and the forehead? That will help you to get much more of a closer match. Just needs a slight bit more rotation. All right. Oops, almost pulling on the wrong axis. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm pulling the bald head one and getting it close, as close as I can get it to the other head. So there we go. So now they look like they somewhat within each other, where the skin is very close. that's pretty much what you want to do, is get close proximity with the skin. And then from that point on, you can hide the bald one and then start to chop into the other one, the one with the crown. All right, so let's move it over. We're going to rotate. We're going to zoom in a little bit. Like I said, I was telling y'all about the whole view frame selected thing. I don't have to do it right now because mine is already zoomed in really close. So at this point, what I want to do is try to get the nose to match. Sometimes what you have to do is scale out the nose. So if one is bigger than the other, you want to scale it out within a reasonable size and try to get as close an accuracy on it as possible. Now, I didn't shade smooth the one with the crown, so you can see the artifacts kind of the contours of it. Doesn't look that good. You can see like they look fragmented. So what I'm going to do is go object, shade smooth, and then it's going to smooth it down. See? So now that it smooths down, it's going to become much more closer and matching. Now it almost matches perfectly. But like I said, I want to cut one of them out of it. So I'm going to cut out, I'm going to hide or move it to the side, either way. But hiding it would be a smarter thing. So I'm going to hide the bald one. So let's hit the H key. And then I'm going to select the one with the crown and just remove all of this upper portion around the nose and forehead. So we're going to go to edit mode. We will then go in and then highlight all the vertices that we want to select. Basically the whole nose and eye area. You take all of that portion. But I also want this part of the cheek just to see how much I can try to, how would you say, mirror. Not really mirror, but I guess mask around it. And mask around it means that I'm masking around the bald head. So I guess this should be good right here. I may have to delete some of it later on. So what I'm going to do is use the shift key on the keyboard and hit the D key, and that duplicates it. And then I'm going to use the G key and the X. Hold on one second. Let's try that again. Shift D, G, and the X. Nope, that didn't work. Shift D. I just didn't want to move it this way because then it's going to be moving out of position. What I'm doing is just moving the mouse to the right. Yeah. It's okay. I'll just move it like that for now. Hit the left click mouse button. And then what we want to do is go out. Actually, we're going to use the, now we're going to use the lasso. When we use the lasso, we want to make sure that this toggle X-ray is selected in the upper right area near scene. You select it and it turns blue. Reason why you want to select that is because what you can do is it'll allow you to go all the way through all of the vertices, even the vertices on the back of the head. And what we want to do is delete everything but that face mask that you created. So we're going to go make sure that we go to the lasso select and it's selected. Go all the way around the whole model. And now everything's selected. We're going to hit the delete key on the keyboard and then go to vertices. So we're deleting all the vertices. So now that part of the model is gone. So what we want to do now is go to object mode. It brings it back. And now we can see that the whole segment is done. Now, if you notice, I'm going to show you what I did wrong. You'll see that there's little holes in the mask that I created. Holes in the nose, holes in the side of the face, near the eyes. That's what I did with the first model when I first started trying to create this technique for the purpose of MetaHuman. The FaceOff technique, basically. So what I'm going to do is go back. We're going to go edit, undo, and redo everything that I did. But this time, I'm going to select all of the vertices. How I do that is we're going to go to the back of the head, zoom in, we're going to toggle the X-ray, zoom in, actually zoom out a little bit, select one of the vertices or faces, view, frame selected, and then we're going to go in to the head. From the back of the head, we're going into the head. Reason why we want to do that, now I did make an error, so we're going to go edit, undo, edit, undo, edit, undo. What I made an error of is edit, undo, edit, undo, edit, undo. Hold on, go back to edit mode, edit, undo. What I did wrong is I deselected the area that I chose to select, so I had to go back. Sometimes you're going to do that and it's going to create a big issue for you if you deselect the segment in the area that you didn't want to deselect. So let me go back. We're going to go back to edit mode, left click and highlight everything that I want to highlight. Make sure toggle X-ray is off so you don't select the back of vertices, and we're going to do circle select again and do this over. So you're going to go through all of that trial and error sometimes, because when you're first starting on Blender, maybe you just got started and you want to do the same thing that I'm doing. It's not going to happen right away. Everything doesn't just happen right away. It takes time for you to figure out the best ways to make things work for yourself, because everybody's technique is different. How you handle the mouse is not the same way I handle the mouse, not the same way everybody is going to control the mouse, and how they choose to use the different options that are available. So everybody's going to have a different technique, but pretty much you can take from other people's techniques and add it to yours if you wanted to, and basically utilize what you want within your strategies and techniques you come up with. So you kind of like improvising all the time. Doesn't have to be, like I said, 100% accurate. So now that I got that, what I would do so I don't make the error again, you can turn this into what is known as a vertex group. So you go in the object data area here, or this options toolbar here, which allows you to go to object data properties. You go to the triangle one that's in green, you select it, and it brings you to vertex groups and shape keys. These are things you're going to use in the future for more advanced stuff on Blender, but for now, the only thing you have to worry about is creating a vertex group. What it does is it groups all the vertices together that you choose to group together. So you're the one that's in control of this stuff, not me, not anybody else. It's you that's controlling it. So you have to tell Blender what you want to do with it. So you go to this vertex group area and you hit the plus button. That will create the group for it, but it's not designated to what specific vertices are within the group. It just creates a folder, or more like an envelope or a digital packet for it. Double click it and call it something. So we're going to call it face mask. And then once you do that, you're going to assign. When you select assign, that's when it's going to go in and assign it. So for now, for shits and giggles, I'm just going to click assign. And now it's going to turn this area that's selected into the face mask vertex group. So what I want to do now is try to attempt to do what I was doing before, which is go on the opposite side. So what I'm doing here, I'm going to select everything that I didn't select on the back side of it, including the eyeballs, because you want the eyeballs to be selected as well. But while I do that, I'm going to hit toggle so I can get all the back vertices in between. So anything that wasn't selected in between, I can select. See how these little tiny black dots? So when you select all those little tiny black dots, that helps as well to get every single vertex you want in there. And you can clean it up as close of a proximity that you want to make it look. And so when you have that face mask that you're trying to merge onto the other mask or onto the other model, it's as accurate as possible. So there you go. So that's all the portions that I need. And now what I'm going to do is hit the plus button and then call this face mask 1. Oops. For vertex groups, double click face mask 1. Doesn't matter what kind of name you call it, it's up to you, but I would call it something that I would remember, so when you get back to it, you know which one is what. So we're going to assign that again, but this time it's going to assign all the little vertices that you just selected along with the rest of the face mask. And we're going to go to the other one and hit the minus key to delete it, because that was just a prep. And then we're going to double click and get rid of the 1 and just hit enter. So now that's the new face mask vertex group. So to prove to yourself that that's an actual vertex group, what you can do is left click. If you left click and you did it by mistake, you can go to edit and go undo. That's another way to go back to it. But my undos was kind of screwed up because I did something wrong. Totally wrong. I switched modes and did all kinds of crazy stuff. So eventually it got rid of whatever step that I did. So if you want to, correct your stuff, don't switch modes. Just stay in the same mode, stay in edit mode and keep going. And then you can go back maybe like 20 steps. Undo, all the way back 20 steps. So at this point, what I'm going to do is deselect it by left clicking anywhere else. And then we're going to click select in the vertex groups. And you'll see it's going to select that face mask portion. So that's, something for those, for people who maybe make mistakes like me while they're trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. They can create vertex groups to help themselves to keep going and bypass a lot of errors, because you can always use that vertex group to bring the whole thing back. So what we're going to do now, we're going to select, duplicate, move it, and then we're going to delete everything like we was doing. So lasso select around the whole portion. I made an error right there. There we go, and we're going to delete. Like I said, make sure you toggle X-ray to delete all the back vertices and everything around it. And now we got the face mask that we want with no errors in it. So now when we look at it, we'll see, and we can notice there's no holes. See, there's no little issues with it. It's just that portion of the face. Okay, so now we're going to bring back the bald head. So we're going to do alternate on the keyboard and the H key. So what I did is hide it in order to hide any 3D models, 3D assets or whatever on Blender, you just hit the H key after you selected it. So the H key is for hide, hotkey for hide. So now what we're going to do is try to merge them. So we're going to move the mask over the other portion. And at this point, all we have to do is approximate it to make it fit in there. And since we already did all the close proximity stuff, we don't have to worry too much about anything. All we have to do is use the Control key on the keyboard and hit the J key to merge them as 3D models. But we have to have both selected. So you have to use the Shift key on the keyboard, left click each 3D element or 3D object, and make sure both are highlighted simultaneously. Then you do Control key, J key, and that merges them together. So now it's one 3D model. Now if you notice there's a big gap in the face, I wouldn't worry too much about the gaps if there's big gaps in spaces like this, because when you bring it over to Unreal Engine, it's just going to build a larger head maybe, or a larger face portion. But pretty much the only thing that is really going to try to recognize is the eyes and the nose bridge shape with respect to the lips. So once you bring it over to Unreal Engine 5, it should not have an issue, because I've done it a bunch of times and it didn't have much of an issue. So let's go and try to do that. So now we're in Unreal Engine 5. I'm going to go to Content Browser, and I'm just going to delete everything that I did before because I don't need it. That's just my first sample test run. So we'll go back. This is the stat model folder. I created a folder for it. You can go and create an avatars folder or model, 3D model folder, whatever you want to name it. You go to content, right click, add new folder, or go to the folder area up here. It says new folder. You select it, and that allows you to create a new name for the folder. We're going to delete that one because we don't need it. I just wanted to show you. Then what we're going to do is go back to my avatars folder that I created, and then go to stat and start putting stuff in there. So I created a stat folder here. We're going to go to add, and we can either add the MetaHuman identity folder in, or asset itself in first, or you can import the character first. It doesn't matter which procedural step you want to do. It's basically the same stuff. So we're going to go to statue. Actually, no, that's not the one. We're going to go to avatars, stat, and stat 1. Actually, this is not even a model. Let's get out of here. I don't know if I actually downloaded the model yet. So let's go file, export. We're gonna export it as a FBX because I noticed that when I export it as a FBX, all the 3D data, including the materials and stuff, come in to Unreal Engine 5. When I use other different formats, for some reason I haven't figured out why it doesn't work the way I want it. So we're going to go export, but make sure we're going to be selected here in this limit 2 area. It has the blue check mark, selected objects, and the object types is mesh in the upper right area or middle right section of the area for export. And then custom properties have a check mark. That should ensure that all your materials come in through an FBX format. So we're going to go export. Now that should be something that I can find on Unreal Engine. But if you don't find it right away, say you already opened it and you didn't see it, what you have to do is go to your avatars folder or the previous folder that you created for it, the main folder, and then go back in to the subfolder. And then you should be able to pull it up. And in terms of when you select import to, you go to import to, then you'll be able to see it. Also, you can do that in your main folders of your PC. So you go back and forth on your main folder to your subfolder, and then you'll start to see the file show up. We're gonna go open, import all. All my stuff is set up by default, but I didn't really change anything. This is the way it was starting out I have import textures selected. It's already defaulted. I don't know why you can't uncheck it, but you want the import textures, obviously. And then import all. Hit the X over here if you have this FBX scene loading thing show up or whatever. No smoothing, that doesn't do anything. Content browser, and then now I can just pull it in because now the head is set up here. If you have a problem where the head is laying on its like almost like the character's laying on his back, but the head is laying on his neck or whatever, you're gonna right click the model file. This is the actual model file. It says the name of the model or the name of the file that you exported. You're gonna go to edit, and you're gonna scroll down over here to the right of the screen. You're gonna look for transform. Then you're gonna go to import rotation and then set this x-axis, which is the first segment, and set it to 90. So this is all in the documentation for the MetaHuman plugin for Unreal Engine 5. So I looked through the documentation. I did an actual live stream on it. So if y'all folks want to get that kind of thing, you want to learn some of that stuff about the Unreal Engine 5 MetaHuman plugin and the documentation for it, you can learn all that. You can go in on MetaHuman on Unreal Engine's website through Epic Games, and you can go in and figure it out from there, from yourself, or for yourself. It's up to you. But I made like an hour long or so video on it, and that it covers everything, and it basically tells of what I did and what I did the research for. So we're gonna minimize this one, go to content drawer. What we're gonna do here is either right click or go to add, either way, to access the MetaHuman identity. So you go to MetaHuman. As long as you activated the plugin, the MetaHuman plugin, you should be able to get the MetaHuman identity to create itself. So you go down to MetaHuman identity, then you can name it what you want. I'm gonna call it statue or stat. You don't want to name it the same name of your other 3D asset, so that's why I'm naming it stat and the other one statue. So this is where the naming conventions may have issues. Then you're going to double click it to access the actual MetaHuman identity, more like a testing staging ground or whatever. So this is where you're going to create your MetaHuman from. You're going to go from mesh to MetaHuman, pretty much. So how you start, you go to component from mesh. Then you're going to look for that model head that you brought in. And like I said, I highly recommend for you to bring in only a bald head. So that's why I like to use Avatar SDK, because that's where you're going to get the bald head from. So we're going to go for statue. It's the one that I got. And we're going to go in and try to zoom in on this guy. And as you can see, it looks like a puzzle piece on his face. So from here, once you zoom in close, you can go up and then go to field of view and either put in 15 or, hold on one second, double click it, make it turn blue, put in 15 or 20, and that should bring it closer. So you don't have to keep going crazy zooming. But to get as accurate as possible, you want to have the full head in view. You don't want it to go out of view. And don't worry too much about the neck. Some people have had issues with elongated necks and stuff like that. And what's going on at this point is you're not actually creating a 3D model. You're just trying to get the head into a good position so it can be framed. So what it means by framing it, it takes it and it turns it into a 2D image. But keep in mind the 3D model data is still being is going to be detected by the algorithm and the AI that they built into this plugin. I think it's an AI system. I don't know how it works. You can look into the documentation for Unreal Engine 5 and the MetaHuman plugin and try to figure that out yourself. But however they did it is screen magic. It's amazing. But you have to have the Unreal Engine software on your computer. So you have to have the Unreal Engine software, the Epic Games launcher and you have to have Unreal Engine 5 all built in onto your computer to make all this stuff work. I already have an Unreal project set up and opened, but if I was to show y'all folks that might take me another 10-15 minutes to show you every little detail. But you got to go from the Epic Games website, Unreal Engine website, and the Epic Games Marketplace starting out, and then it brings you over to the Unreal Engine 5 plugin. You get the plugin inserted into the Epic Games launcher. Once you got it on the Epic Games launcher, then you can get it on your project. So you create a project, you go to edit, go to plugins, and then type in MetaHuman. And once you do that, you'll gain access to the MetaHuman plugin, and you hit the check mark. Once you hit the check mark, it's activated. And that's that. Then you can start doing all this stuff. Also, you have to log in. So you're going to have to create a actual Epic Games account and then log in through your Epic Games account in order to gain access to this as well. So these are the kind of things that you got to do. All right, so we got to this part. I just wanted to y'all folks to understand what is going on. So now you got the whole promoting of the frame thing. If you never did this MetaHuman stuff, this is for those folks who don't know why you have to do certain things. But when you read the documentation, it basically tells you about the promote frame, the track active frame, MetaHuman identity solve, and mesh to MetaHuman. It's fairly simple after you figure out what you're doing. So you're going to go to body or neutral pose. Either way, you have to select the body. So you choose to select the body. What this is basically giving Unreal Engine an indication to what size of a body you're going to put this head on. So we're going to choose which body we want. We're going to choose the larger body. You also can zoom up if your computer isn't showing the rest of the bodies. There's other bodies under here, bigger bodies. There's the larger scale bodies, the medium sized bodies, medium built, and then there's the skinnier bodies. So I'm going to choose the medium sized body and then scroll this down a little bit so I can access this portion. So now what we're going to do is go to pose or neutral pose. You have to have a neutral pose to start out your promote frame. So you can't select promote frame if you're not in this option here. So we're going to go to promote frame. What that does is it creates the 2D image. Like I said, it's going to take that frame and lock it in as a 2D image. The reason why it does that is because what you want to do is track where the eyes is located, the nose is located, and the mouth shape. So that's where the track active frame comes in handy. You click it, it goes in and puts little tracking points, these little green tracking points across the different portions of the face. So if you don't think these are accurate, if they don't look that accurate, you can fix them. So what I'm going to do is make these larger because these eyes are going to look very, very tiny. For some reason, the angle that I probably chose is not the best angle. So I'll just correct it because I made a little error. I think it's my error. This is error in positioning. So when you first start out rotating the character, trying to get the character well lit or showcased so it could be in view before you get to this tracking or promoting frame, you want to position it so that everything looks symmetrical. So I made an error with it, but I'm not worried about it too much. I've done it so many times that it doesn't matter to me per se in terms of it being that accurate. It's where you put these tracking points before you go to MetaHuman identity solve that makes the difference. All right, so that looks pretty decent. Now, keep in mind the 3D model's head, every little detail that you put in for your 3D model is going to show up in the shape of it. Now, if you have the ears like elf ear shapes, that's not going to come in because MetaHuman has a certain default shape for the ears mainly. The neck and the head, that's questionable because this new MetaHuman plugin, it basically will provide you little space to play around with the head shape and the neck shape. The chin as well, the chin may mirror, more than likely it's going to mirror the shape that you chose to create your 3D model in. So we're going to go to MetaHuman Identity Solve at this point. What it's going to do is go in and create the 3D model off of all of the data that you provided. So now it's going to reshape the 3D model that was defaulted in there. There's an actual 3D model that's defaulted before you go in and select MetaHuman Identity Solve. So it's going to take that 3D model and reshape it based on your data that you provided. So we're going to go to B. This A and B is a way for you to toggle in between that new model and the actual information that you provided, which is the imagery, the 2D image from the 3D model that you chose to bring into Unreal Engine. So if you look and you swap back and forth, you can test to see if it looks as accurate as you wanted it to be. So the nose bridge generally will be decided, I believe, based on where these positions of the nasal, what do they call it? It's a nasal something, nasolabial. So the nasolabial, wherever you place this in position, should accurately position the nose so that the bridge will come with respect to, and the nose itself will be laid out with respect to the position of it. So this particular nose doesn't look that accurate with this nose, and like I said, it's probably because how I chose to position the image or the 3D model's head to promote that frame. So I didn't promote the frame that great, but you can get a better positioning. What I recommend for you to do is rotate the head so that the nose stands out. So what I mean is, let's go back. We're gonna minimize, and we're gonna start a whole new MetaHuman identity. So we're gonna go in and we're gonna call this Step 1. Enter it. You can hit the enter key on the keyboard to enter it if you want. We're going to choose that same head. So statue, we're going to go to statue. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here goes statue. What I'm talking about is where you choose to position this head will make all the difference on how it looks. So in terms of promoting that frame, it's going to change the outcome of the look of your model. So you can scroll up and down, and you can use the right click mouse button to go up and down in angle. So it will change the angle and degree of the frame you're promoting. And you can zoom in by using the left click mouse button and just moving the mouse forward or backward. So there we go. That looks a little bit better. Now the head is somewhat off in angle of degree. So I don't know how to correct that in terms of rotating it maybe a little bit towards, like rotating it this way, counterclockwise, I guess. I don't know how to rotate it counterclockwise, so I don't even think you can do that in terms of rotation, but you probably could actually. So let me see if I could do that. Hold on one second. We'll try to put the head in the regular viewport just to see what degree I have to put it in. So let's zoom the head in. There goes a Steph Curry head. I was just playing around with Steph Curry's head for a while, trying to score points on celebrity builds and stuff. So see, so you can rotate like this, but that's like too huge of a rotation. So what I'm gonna do is try to figure out, hold on, let me zoom out. Let's try to figure out how much I could rotate by using the details. We're going to go into details and try to get to the transformation data. Here it is. So I don't know which adjustment it is, so I'm gonna go like 0.5 on the y axis and see if that makes a difference. Yeah, that made a difference right there, just by putting 0.5 on the y axis. I don't know, I assumed it would be the y axis, not sure why. So we're gonna go ahead, use 1, and that doesn't look too bad. So let's see. Yeah, we'll use 1. So the way you correct that, that's not a correction. That's just me testing it to see what's going to happen if I try to correct it. So to correct it, you go into the model head itself. Hit the right-click mouse button, edit. And like I showed you before with this 90 import, we don't want that. We want that to be 0. The import rotation, we're going to set the Y at 1. Hit enter, and then go to re-import base model. Now it's going to reposition it. So it's correcting that transformation. So when I go in, minimize, when I go in to the MetaHuman identity for stat 1, it's going to have a correction once I bring that model head in. So I'm going to delete all of this. I never promoted it, so don't worry about it. I'm just going to delete everything. Delete the face. And I'm going to start off with a new component from mesh. You can delete everything if you want. Then I'm going to go back and put that stat head again back in, that statue head. So, all right. So now we got the head back in, and now you'll see that it's going to be a much more accurate positioning. So if you have issues with that, now you know that's a way to fix it. That looks much better. The symmetry is a little bit improved. Okay, so we're going to go 15, zoom out. Try to rotate it. Hold on. Zoom in. This is just take some time just to get it as accurate as you want it. But that looks a lot better. Zoom out a little. It's just his head is a little crooked. All right, so that shouldn't be bad. It looks like the eyes is pretty symmetric. The nose doesn't look too bad. Maybe I want to bring the nose down a little bit. Yeah, like that. So I can see the bottom of the nasal portion. So now I'll try to promote it. Let's move it and zoom it in a little bit better. So let's try to promote it now. So we go to body, use that medium body, neutral pose, promote frame, track, and let's see what it does. It even improved the tracking. And I'm not really worried too much about the eye tracking because I can fix that on Unreal Engine. I mean on the MetaHuman creator. Just to change the nose a little bit more accurate, I'm gonna move the nasolabials just slightly over to get more closer to the nose over here. And let's see if it does a correction. So from that point, we'll go to MetaHuman Identity Solve. Let's see what it does in terms of building it. Let's see if we can get improved accuracy from the first build. So now we're gonna go to B. And as you can see, it looks a little bit better, but even then, the nose is still not the same size. I'm wondering if that's because I chose to chop out the face or not. I'm not sure. but the head size is identical. The ears are identical in position, even the chin. Everything else is identical. The nose is the only thing that's not identical. So that does bother me a little bit. Let's see if I could correct it. So we're going to hit the plus, promote a new frame. Let's delete this frame. And we're going to do track active frame again. We'll try that technique. See if that makes it better. And we'll move the nasal labials over much more closer. Much more closer. Let's try that. Now let's try to MetaHuman identity solve. See what it does. I'm sure there got to be a way to fix it. That doesn't look too bad. Now, keep in mind, this could be corrected also on MetaHuman Creator. So everything pretty much looks really good. So we're going to go mesh to MetaHuman. I guess that could be the best that I can get with the nose, but we'll see. So from this point, by selecting mesh to MetaHuman, what that does is it basically tries to communicate with the cloud. So wherever the MetaHuman is tied to, so the MetaHuman data is tied to Quixel Bridge, which is another portion of it's like a pipeline, like a 3D pipeline that's tied together to Unreal Engine 5. So you can actually bounce in and out of the Quixel Bridge if you wanted to directly through Unreal Engine 5. Quixel Bridge is where you have to sign into as well, besides being signed in through Epic Games. So you can sign into your Quixel Bridge through Epic Games, through your Epic Games account. But you have to be tied into all of that. And then we're going to go to metahuman.unrealengine.com. We're going to launch it. So we're going to go launch latest MetaHuman Creator, hit this blue tab, and that's basically how you access the MetaHuman Creator. The previous version, it won't allow you to do all this stuff that we're doing with the mesh to MetaHuman. And as for today, we're doing the statue to MetaHuman. So this is like just having fun. I'm just enjoying myself. So I'm gonna be done with this by the way very soon, because my wife, she had a little accident with her leg and stuff, so I have to help her around the house. So that's what me and my uncle was talking about, different things going on. Life has its alterations, and you have to adjust and adapt to the real world, you know what I mean? So everything's not going to be the same all the time. Sometimes you're going to have bumps in the road, you're going to have potholes, you're going to have to swerve around obstacles and all kinds of different stuff. Even sometimes you may have an accident every now and then. God forbid it's not that bad, but it is what it is. Things will happen, so you got to adapt and overcome. So let's see, MetaHuman Creator is going in, is doing its thing, communicating. But I noticed that they may have upgraded it even further, because now when I go in, I don't have to hit refresh for every single new model that I put up. And it seems like my newer models are just coming in without having to hit refresh. Now, back when it first started, you would have to hit refresh and then it would jump in. So here goes my model here that I just created for the statue. So now it's pretty much done, but I want to go in and detail some stuff. So we're going to hit edit selected, this blue tab, to go in and jump in on the model and edit through it. So if you want to edit it, you want to go real deep into editing, you want to go through custom mesh in the upper left corner where it says face. Then you're going to go enable editing. That will allow you to create a duplicate, but in order to create a duplicate, you would have to select duplicate and unlock. So that way, maybe you want to use that base mesh model that you created for MetaHuman in the future. And maybe you want to play around with the one that you're using now. So that way when you create a duplicate, it won't get rid of the previous one. So we're going to go to unlock because I don't care. I really don't care about this particular model. I just did it for fun out here on YouTube, just to show y'all folks what I was able to do with an actual statue from Sketchfab. So we're going to go skin, and we're going to add his skin. In order to add skin, you have to assign it starting out. So you click this blue button, it highlights in blue, and then you select the skin color. So we'll go with this. This doesn't look too bad for this particular statue. We're gonna go with the texture. Let's just add some old texture, a little bit older texture. So you go to the right to add texture. And I don't have too many errors in his eyes, nose, or any of that. I mean, the nose actually didn't come out too bad, I don't think. Once you get the mesh to MetaHuman, it actually brings over some stuff, but it may lose some things and add a little bit more or less. So keep in mind, it's not going to be 100% accurate. Maybe like 98.5% accurate. So if you're having that kind of thing going on, it's not something you can avoid, because the data is going to translate, transpose, and do what it does. It's not up to you or us. So let's go to head. We're going to add some sort of hairstyle. I added this hairstyle. This is really a cool hairstyle for the actual king, because if you look at the king's hair under the crown, it kind of looks like this. Then we're going to go to beard. Going to add the full beard. And we're going to give him a mustache. Give him a large mustache. So pretty much he looks kind of like that. Or we may put like a little more smaller beard, something to that effect. And that's pretty much it right there. So this is pretty much the same model that I created, just in a different format from scratch. Showed y'all folks how I did it and etc. Starting out from Sketchfab. So that completes pretty much the project and the live stream. But yeah, it works using Avatar SDK. Starting out from Sketchfab, you bring that image like I showed. That's a review. So you take the image of whatever it is, any human image, and you try to bring it in, and then you bring it to Blender. From Blender, you are able to digitally chop it up into pieces. Maybe the face portion, create a face mask or whatever you wanted to create, and then you merge them. When you merge them, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate, but you want the positioning of the nose and mouth to be somewhat in the right positions. So when you merge and join the mesh together, it joins in a good position that it can actually be detected on Unreal Engine 5. Once you're on Unreal Engine 5, all you have to do is play around with the MetaHuman identity to get as accurate of tracking that you can get. So that's what I did there. And other than that, once you get it over to MetaHuman Creator, now it's up to you what, to your liking and your creativity, how you detail it, how you stylize it and make it look. And that's about it. So that completes the project. I can go in further and do clothing and all that stuff, but there's tons of videos out there showing y'all folks how to play around with the clothing on MetaHuman identity, on MetaHuman Creator. Sorry about that. So that would just be wasting more time. I don't want to waste your time any more than I already did. Hopefully this wasn't a waste. If you feel I didn't waste your time, feel this is going to benefit someone else on the planet, feel free to share it socially. Feel free to pass it on, let people know, hit the thumbs up, things like that. That'd be awesome to help me to move further with my pursuits in this arena of 3D. And I can go much further with it, obviously, if I get more coverage and more viewership going on through the the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff. But other than that, Joe 11 peace to all. Mike P signing off. I'll see y'all folks in the next tutorials or next sessions, live streams, whatever I come up with. And that's all I got. I am out. Peace. Trying to get to end this session. Oh shoot, hold on. I got some questions. I didn't even know there was questions here. When we getting that dunk? I am True Skills ass. Yo, I don't know, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna come up with a dunk. And we got Brooklyn Rays. What's happening here? Hopefully you already got the answer to that, but pretty much I'm trying to turn statues into metahumans. Just having fun with the different skills that I gathered over the years, in conjunction with all the new tools that are out here. There's amazing stuff going on. Oh, before I go, let me just show y'all folks some of my newer 3D models that I created using all the different techniques. So let's go to Quixel Bridge real quick. I'm sure I'm logged into it, but Quixel Bridge is where I got all my models at. So you should be able to see it through there. But here goes some imagery. Let's see. Here goes one. It's an old lady. Older lady, I should say. Here's this other character. Pretty cool looking character. Highly stylized character. This one isn't a 3D model that's being prepped to become one. And hold on, here we go. Quixel Bridge. So now it's done loading up. Let's see, I'm not signed in yet. So let me sign in. All right. Here we go. Here goes my latest MetaHuman. Some of them haven't been updated yet. This guy, these two are the same. This is a duplicate. I turned this guy into an alien. This guy's called Frankie. So when he's not in his alien mode, he looks like Frankenstein. I went hard trying to play around with his colors and textures and all kinds of stuff. The other guy, the guy that y'all saw, the young black guy, his name is Ace. I don't know if he's going to be in a cartoon or some new age cartoon. I'm trying to create characters for that kind of purpose, because I know that either they're going to be in cartoons or rap videos, things like that. Any kind of a film type of stuff, I'm creating characters for that. So if somebody wants a very unique stylized character through MetaHuman, let me know. I'll try to create it, and then maybe we can exchange files. Actually, I can send files from MetaHuman to your actual Unreal Engine project. I've learned how to do that in terms of file exchange for character purpose. So that's something that's unique that can be done. Maybe people can play around with that in the future and create characters for each other, or mix and match and, you know, share each other's files if they wanted to, and come up with collaborations on it. I think in the future people are going to be collaborating big time in the MetaHuman creator arena, because this is an uncharted arena where not that many people really know of it around the planet. It's starting to become well known slowly but surely. But when more and more people become more creative with it, that's when the collaborations are going to happen. And it's going to be pretty powerful, because this is high quality stuff, folks. Things that have never been created before in a digital sense, in this format, in this type of quality. Like, it's crazy high quality what you can create. Some of them look kind of weird, but that's cool. I like the weirdness. Like, this is me. This is my actual 3D model, just tripped out a little bit. I don't really look like this. I look close to it. It's my nose, pretty much, and my texture, my color. Maybe the kind of mustache, and it has my jawline and a lot of different things, but it doesn't have my full shape, because some of it I changed a little bit. Maybe the ears, the forehead, things like that. Here goes another one. I don't think this is me though. I don't remember where I got this guy from, but he's an alien. This girl, she's an alien. This one, I call it the Sphinx. It looks kind of shitty. It's just weird looking. This is very weird. This was an epic fail based on the hair, because the hair wasn't removed So it wasn't a ball head that I used to create this character. It just turned really whacked out, so I kept it. This character, she looks pretty cool. She kind of reminds me of Pippi Longstocking back in the day when I was a kid. So I wanted to keep her. I really blinged out her freckles, and I may change her hair color, but I like it. I like the afro going with her. We got some kids I built. I learned how to build kids from tiny little avatars, actual 2D image avatars from an avatar creator. So now I can create kids. I created this guy I call Hulk Bogan. So he just got out of prison. I don't know why he got in there, but I'm just playing around with this character. Maybe gonna build around him in the future. Here goes my different versions of Steph Curry. It didn't come out right. Didn't come out good, but I'm gonna play with it. And I have some other characters, some really wild looking characters, Boss Man, things like that. I gotta go, folks. My wife is calling, but I'll see y'all in other videos. All right, peace. Hey, babe. Yeah, I'm gonna come over there.